Gundam.tk presents Double O Riser. Hey, what's up everybody? It is Robert184, 2Rs2Bs, Gundam.tk, and I'm here with my final verdict on the perfect grade Double O Gundam. Don't forget to check out the parts and everything put together and the posability, but now it's time for a run through of the good and bad things. For some of the negatives first, the first thing I have to say is the price. When you're looking at $250 to $300, that is expensive, and this has to be a kit that you really want to justify that kind of money. And as a part of that, do we really need the O Riser? In a way, if we could have just got the Double O Gundam, that may have been a better thing. And in addition, you'll notice that it's standing on a stand. Anybody who buys it early is going to get that stand included, but that means anybody in the future will not necessarily get the stand included. And I think that would be, it would really take away from a lot of the posability, because on the ground, there's not that much that you can really do with this thing, I found. Now just for some random bullets. First of all, the clear green parts that they give you don't stand out, unfortunately, which if they did would look even cooler. Why do we have to paint this clear blue? If we're spending $250, it should be painted for us. Posability. It's a pain. Things like the ankles not moving as much as they do. And there's other things like the shoulders have a very cool mechanism to go up, but because the GN drives are in the way, well, what can you really do with that? The backpack should move more to allow the drives to get out of the way more, and it's very hard to line everything up just right. In terms of weapons, the rifles don't connect into the forearms very well, which means moving them or posing them is very difficult, and the weapons fall out of the hands. Especially the swords, if you have them with the palms down, which is a pretty normal pose that you might want to make, the swords will just fall down. There's really nothing you can do with that besides locking the fingers around them and hoping they stay in place. When you add the effect parts to this, also I had some problems with the waist, with the wrists, and everything wanted to fall over. Finally, the shield faces backwards, so Katajina-san, Uso was always in trouble, but the Double O Gundam is following along, and not to mention the fact that it looks like a surfboard. However, that is being said, you can make it look good if you dislocate the arm a little bit. And the other big one is the GN condensers. They're a very cool idea, but you can ignore them. And that means you can just slide everything around and you'll hear a clicking sound, etc. But if you ignore them over time, I wonder if you're not weakening them, and that in the future, when you do want to hold something up like the GN Sword 3, that all of the things are going to be too loose. So I sort of wish they had gone in a couple different ways with this, but one, they could have just made them that they're very stiff joints, but still able to move freely. Two, that you have to use the GN, you have to actually push them in properly every single time, and that will maintain their integrity over time. Sort of wish they had done one or the other. There are a lot of good points on the other hand. So first of all, we have excellent feet movement, the way the things bend, and the rubber soles, the way that they keep everything in place, is pretty cool. And this is a big thing. The inner frame is awesome. I really can't stress that enough. When you're putting this together and you're building the chest units and the legs and everything, you'll just be like, wow, this is some pretty ingenious engineering. And whoever designed these things, or all the people that designed these things, my hat goes off to them, because putting this together was exciting, if you can say that. Anyway, the directions were well done, and if they hadn't been, it could have been a disaster, especially when you're putting the GN condensers together. So I'm glad that they had a good manual to go along with this good inner frame. Now, posability, I complained about a few of the things before, but it does have some good points that go along with it, like it can grab its beam sabers from the back, it can kneel. The way the waist skirt moves, you've got so many different ways to move this so that you can get the legs in just the right position. It's just impressive with the hips going up and down and able to lock into place. And how could I possibly skip over this? These GN drives are awesome. I remember the first thing I did was take them out of when I took them out of the box, and you just press the button, and to see them slowly spin up to speed where you can see all the lights clearly, and then they get up to speed and they're loud in a sort of annoying way, but it sort of just goes to emphasize how powerful they are and how much they add to this kit. If they didn't have the GN drives, that would be quite disappointing. But some people may be disappointed that you don't actually get to build your own electronics and wire everything yourself. But I'm quite content having these out of the box just because they are So cool. Now next up is the body itself, and I have to say that when I was first looking at the parts I thought, well, this just looks like a big master grade. And now I want to take that back. This really does look like a perfect grade, and where you see that is just when you look at this model just in the camera frame here, don't you just see all of the black parts, that just the attention to details on the lower grades, etc. This is just going to be a big blue piece, and so is the back of the shield, etc. But here, the inner frame just stands out in every way. And actually, I think when you look at this Gundam, of course the white, blue, and yellow and red stand out, but it's the black for me that stands out the most. And because of the detail that goes into it, especially when it's posed, when it exposes all of these parts here, etc., it really goes to show that this is a perfect grade. And going along with the perfect grade motif here, the GN condensers are fun to make. They're pretty cool. You're like, wow, how do you put this together? How is this going to work? And when you actually plug them in to the knees and the elbows, etc., you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. Now, the weapons. First of all, the size is great. The GN Swords 2 look good. The extension parts look awesome. The shield, I think, looks pretty good, other than the fact that I said it looks like a surfboard. I like the way that they work. The silver trim on the edge of the GN Sword 2s is a fantastic touch, and I'm really glad that they did that. But the thing that really impressed me about the weapons is the way they attach to the body and to each other. You don't have to be reaching into a Ziploc to grab some extension to put the two GN Sword 2s together. You just fold the part out and attach them. So all of the attachment mechanisms are built into the weapons, which for me, they should be for a perfect grade. And the other small bonuses is that those shield parts, when we put them on, and I'm going to call them Wolverine blade shields, I think that's a pretty cool touch. And what about the head? I've dimmed the lights here, but it's the fact that we've got these green parts on the side. They give you the options of putting seals in if you want. The way the light escapes from under the eyes. The red jewel turning green is somewhat unfortunate, but still you just get the idea of the GN particles. And the way the head looks with the lights on is just fantastic. They really did a good job of it. Not to mention that just the hollow build, so when you're putting the head together, it is quite interesting to see the way that they designed everything around the fact that you can slide a light unit similar to Exia's GN drives into the head and slide it out and have no problems. And little details like the shiny silver sticker in the inside to increase the reflection and just bounce the light around. Very cool touch. Finally, the manipulators were really cool to put together. The fact that they took up a plate all by themselves, the way you attach the fingers and the kind of mobility that you get with them afterwards was a real plus. And only one question is, the hologram seals, there's a ton of hologram seals that go on the inside of this Gundam, which is sort of unfortunate. A few more visible on the outside, other than these ones that always want to break up in the shoulders, might have been appreciated. So what is my final verdict? Well, I think that I have to sum up the perfect grade 00 Gundam as such. It's an incredible build. It has a lot of good gimmicks. I think it looks good when it's all put together. I think it's incredibly annoying to pose, and I think that it's expensive. So from those 5 things, whichever things matter to you when you're building a kit, please keep those in mind, and I think that if you're looking for a challenge, you'll enjoy building this kit. If you like posing things and they're a little bit, even despite their being annoying, I think you won't have any problems with that. However, if you tend to be like me and just have one cool pose and leave it on the shelf, it's going to look good, but it's not the kind of thing that you're going to be able to just twist it into a cool new position in a few seconds with very little thought. It seems like you have to plan it out, press the condensers, get everything in just right, and that can take a little bit of time and be frustrating if things don't go well. So that's me. What do you think? You've seen the perfect grade 00 Gundam here in too much detail perhaps. Why don't you let me know down below what you think and on the front page. And of course, I'm looking forward to adding the O-Riser to this, which is going to add a lot of bulk, which is going to look pretty good, especially the GN Sword 3. But I wonder how much posability and how many weight issues we are going to have with that. Anyway, stay tuned. Hope you're excited for that. And as always, thanks for watching, everybody. I know this took a long time, and I apologize for the length of time that it's taken to get this review to you. But anyway, it was exciting for me to build my first perfect grade, and I wonder if it's done enough for me to want to build more. Anyway, everybody, subscribe if you haven't already, hit like if you do, hit don't like if you don't, and as always, stay tuned for a whole lot more reviews from Robert184, gundam.tk. Seriously, I waited 10 months? And that's it?